All right. Just a note: we are playing on the greatest difficulty there is. We're in turn 19 out of 30 possible. If we get done before the end of the stream, hey, Grey Knight. I thought maybe we'll start a random battle and take a look at playing one of those. There's so much content with these DLCs, but still you can fully play them and still want to play more stuff. And so the random battles can be really nice. Now, we've got this guy here. I think what I want to do is reduce that effectiveness down. Then let's see, we could... he doesn't look terribly effective, nor he. So you can maybe try to get a yeah, see if we can just take out the AA gun. That frees up our abilities to hit other aircraft unmolested. Or not aircraft, other targets, ground targets with aircraft. Oh, we can just about destroy that. Damage that. Okay. Wow, so we're in range of this guy. Yeah, we'll do that. Take out these old Matildas. The old Matilda. Matilda 1 here. I would describe it, you know, it's sort of called an infantry tank. But I would call it a heavy tankette in sort of World War II terms, in that it has a single Vickers machine gun in a, it's a water jacket cooled, but also has an armored shroud for that. And this is really heavy armor. It moves fairly slow. It's an infantry support vehicle, but it is rather heavy armor on it. And for the job it was intended to do, I think it does it fairly well. In no way perfect or anything like that. Let's see, what can we sort of suppress, hit? Okay, we'll fly and suppress these anti-tank guns. Now we're going to fly a few escort fighters here and see if we can. The most important is to escort these guys here to some degree, but we'll do a little bit of strafing runs. And let's see, he can move off his target by 1. So he's going to, we're going to see about bringing him over here and also strafe. And that way he's escorting this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. So these guys are all escorted by him if there's any enemy fighters going to come up after them. And let's see, I do know there's some other enemies, and I think they're based sort of over here. I'm going to send him out this way just to sort of give fly top cover for him. That this is the Adolf Galland in Spitfires, captured Spitfires. I think these guys have already moved from the last session. Yeah, it's about as damaging as it is helpful, so that is not terribly helpful. I'll move up to here. Get him some support. So now the reconnaissance Krautschützen is supported by artillery and anti-tank, and the anti-tank is supported by artillery if enemy comes there. Some more. That World War One tank. No. If you're talking the Matilda 1, no, it was the 1920s, I believe, it was developed. The Matilda 2, they might have sent a few Matilda 1s to France, mostly they're Matilda 2s, which are even heavily armored with both a machine gun and something about a I think it's about a 40 millimeter, what was it, 2-pounder. But yeah, no, these are interwar tanks that, you know, they're basically no good against another tank. And with a blue stripe on it. Okay, well, this one here, that's a Sturmpanzer. That's a Panzer 1 with a 150 millimeter infantry gun stuck on it. You can actually see the wheels inside of it. It's just the artillery carriage stuck on top of it. This guy here, oh, this is probably what you're talking about. This is a French Char B. I inherited, the devs gave me earlier the start for it, and it included a lot of captured vehicles that the Germans captured earlier in their playthrough. Again, this is on the max difficulty. So this is a Char B with a 47 millimeter gun up in the turret, along with a machine gun, and a 75 millimeter howitzer type gun down in the hull there for infantry and emplacement assaults. Ready for the history lesson? Well, I hope so. Oh boy, I'm always hard with some of these names. Elun? I don't know. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Who operates the howitzer? No, there's actually sort of wish I had War Thunder open right now, because War Thunder, I know it's a different game company and all that, but it's a great teaching tool because you get inside and look at it. The driver is sort of here. You can see this hatch here. These are actually pretty good models. You know, we can zoom. Let's see if we can get in. We get a good position. Zoom in pretty well. They're pretty good models, all things considered. No, the gun goes back into the lower hull here quite a way, so that the sort of gunner is back here. There is sort of a loader, additional engine operator, sort of somewhere in some versions of the Char B. You also have the Char B1 bis, which is sort of the most common, and then you have the Char B1 tier, which is not this vehicle. It's the basic design, engine and howitzer and turret of this vehicle, but just with some sort of extra armor stuck all over it that was just sort of maybe a bit more than prototype, but very limited production. This turret up here would be a one-man turret the guy who's operating the machine gun, the main gun, and commanding the vehicle from up here. So there's this, like, one guy that's normally in most of the versions, that's sort of an ammo passer, maybe not quite readily a loader for either of these guns, but from the different racks. And so actually, I would say these two are not sized very well. This is a two-man tank, fairly small, again, heavy armor, but fairly small vehicle. This is probably the top of this track is about a man's head height. So that's a very tall vehicle, you know. So you're looking at that. You know, so this is, you know, French big assault tank, as it were. And this is a giant tank here. This is another French tank. They had maybe 12 of them, also made back in the very early 30s, not used in combat in World War II. The Germans ended up capturing all of them, only one of them in running condition. That's a turret in the rear, main turret up here, another sort of, can't really see it, small gun mounting here, and the main sort of deck up here I would put is 14, 15 feet high. And then you have the turret on top of the main, this top deck. It's a huge, there's that right there is one of the doors, and it's like probably about a 5-foot high door, not like a hatch. You got to like step up to it, but it's a door. Yeah, well, as you can see, just about all of the stuff outside of what has become sort of classic tanks have stopped being used, like the howitzers in the holes and all of that stuff that you can see here with the Panzer III. Here, you got to the machine gun in the bow hole was somewhat useful, but its weakness, the weak spot that having a machine gun there is not worth its utility. So with more modern mechanization and more modern, easier to deal with radios, you're able to go down from a crew of 5 down to a crew of 4 efficiently. And so you have the driver and the 3 men in the turrets. Now, of course, we're looking at more automated loaders. In my opinion, you need minimum, for a proper good tank crew, you need a minimum of 3 people. A driver, someone who's only worried about driving the vehicle. You need a gunner whose at least primary worry is about shooting the gun. And then you need a third guy to sort of like be situationally aware. Look all around you, see what's going on, find and identify targets, tell the driver, oh, hey, drive, not necessarily details of driving, but drive over to this road or drive into these woods. And so the driver worries about driving properly, carefully down trails, tracks, whatever, while the commander is figuring out what's going on. And then the gunner is ready to precisely load and shoot at a target. And I know from my own shooting, not in tanks, but in rifles and pistols, you get sort of tunnel vision as you focus in on your target and trying to hit. So your awareness of the surroundings just goes down, even though your vision really hasn't changed. It's just sort of the human body, but it's magnified looking through a telescopic sight for a gun like this. So while you're trying to target one other particular, whether it's a person, a tank, or whatever else, you need the tank commander to be aware of things around you, whether it's your tanks following you, your friendly vehicles, where the friendlies are, where the enemies might be popping up. So minimum 3 people is, in my opinion, is needed for a proper tank. I know some tanks have gone down to 2, but in my opinion, minimum is 3. Flamethrower seems to be a thing even late in World War II. Well, flamethrower tanks are, and we can see here, actually, you bring this up, that's a flamethrower, Bren Gunner universal carrier here. You can see the fuel tanks in back there and the nozzle out here. The Russians have sort of an artillery flamethrower now, the TOS or whatever, TOS, that basically launches rockets that go into an area and then do a fuel air explosion. Flamethrower tank vehicles were used, I know, by the U.S. forces in Vietnam. So they're, into 1973 in U.S. arsenals and main combat. So we can readily see flamethrowers, I think, still to some degree used today. I don't know that the U.S. standard has them in any of the engineering units. Unbutton if they, oh, well, yes, absolutely. Until they start, bullets or shell fragments start whizzing around. You want to have the tank is opened up. I hope you guys are all interested in this. As much as possible. The German sidearm on a lot of these vehicles, there's a hatch right there. It's sort of a hinged here and hinged here that opens up. They would want to ride with those open, and so like the loader can look out when he's, as the tank's going along or parked somewhere looking for the enemy. The loader doesn't need to worry about loading the round immediately. You want him looking around, and there is a good reason for human loaders. And you can look at like the Chieftain. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. Hey, Jaculius. and others more expert than I on the topic are talking about more and more going over to a auto loading system. But there is good reason for loaders in vehicles, because they can do other things, like be another set of eyes looking around while you're going. Driving tank is normally easier unbuttoned. Definitely easier before in the pre video image age, that you can now have cameras around your tank to look around, and so you can keep buttoned up for some of that stuff. But you'd want the driver to be unbuttoned. You want the radio operator to also be looking. You want everybody you can to be looking out. The only guy who really doesn't have his head popped out is the gunner, and he'll be looking through the gun sights in a direction specified. U.S. standard procedure is sort of lead tank in a column looking straight ahead, and then the next tank looking to your right, and the tank behind him looking to the left, with the turret pointing in those directions, and alternating back down like a column of movement, so that you have tanks looking each direction, gunner looking through his gun sight, scanning the area. And so that type of movement you will definitely, so he'll be the only one that's sort of buttoned up and looking through his gun sight as particular. I think, though, we are mostly done with this turn. We've done our air attacks. All right. Give the British their... Okay, they're shooting at our aircraft. Okay, they came over here. Oh, good. Could we... Oh. Looks like Adolf Galland maybe gonna die there. Uh-oh. Do you have any more fighters? He's definitely had it. Oh, this took a heavy hit. Bringing up the infantry tank. Okay. Okay, well, Adolf Galland here, is down at 1 strength, and we're going to heal him up entirely. Now, that would not be a favorable attack. That would be a favorable attack, so let's take it. Weaken them somewhat. He may be hit next turn, we will see. Now, and let's be smart about this. Sometimes I forget to use my air early on. He isn't much of a danger, but he's going to have, like I say, thick armor. It might be difficult to... Well, before we move, what would be... Okay, see, if we attack this guy, mainly because of that anti-tank gun, is going to suppress a lot of our attacks. Now, this guy and this guy can really harm them. So what we're going to do is... And there we know we have that AA gun way back there, but he doesn't support up to here. Well, they might be able to move a... And so he's going to come off the target. He can, because he has double move within his movement range for the turn. Now, we could hit here. He has some good cannons on his vehicle, so we're going to... strike that there. Okay, that took them out. Very good. Now, -1, weaken them by 1, take down 2 morale. Well, I think this may also do a morale hit, as well as, yeah, morale down of 3 plus ammo and reducing movement. Okay. That is assuredly helpful. Yeah, these do not look like favorable attacks on them. They're entrenched. Flame is a nasty but very effective weapon. The Char 2C. Like I say, the French mainly used these during the war as propaganda weapon, if you will. You find a lot of photos of them. Yeah, they just got tough skins. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a hit from the anti-tank guns, but I want to eliminate them if I can. Okay, that would work, I think. I'll move him up here. So this is now a mass attack. Oop. Now he also has that guy, one of the heroes here. Overwhelming attack. Any damage to a unit is enough to force them to retreat. Shock tactics. So he surrenders. Gets them to either retreat or surrenders much more easily, so he actually did that. Now he is not attacking this turn yet unless I somehow kill that. These guys are going to get elite reinforcements, but my plan here is to move this up here. This comes up to here and then unloads, so now anybody attacking these units is going to be hit hard with some serious artillery. They're going to move up here to keep them from flanking in and hitting them directly. Guess where assault comes from? I've wondered that too. PS 35-9. I did not know. I did get the association, but I don't know. Did the Germans make an effort to make spare parts for these captured vehicles, or did they just scrap them when they broke down? I know of no specific spare parts manufacturer outside of course, if you will, call it the Czech tanks. I mean, they kept them in production, obviously. So they're captured 35Ts and basically mostly in production 38Ts, obviously, and French vehicles. A lot of they had large numbers of spare parts, and they did keep some of that stuff in production for some time for France. Now, I don't know, stuff captured by the Germans from the, Dunkirk retreat. A lot of those vehicles were damaged, but then we see photos. Now, it could just be simply a truck that looks like it can run and has German markings on it for propaganda purposes, or it might be a Bedford or whatever that can run, that's British, that has German markings on it, that wasn't damaged, or they got enough spare parts. But no, they didn't specifically make engines or transmissions or significant things. But Becker, I forget his first name. He was the main officer, a German officer stationed in France, that really started to do all of the conversions that you see coming out of French vehicles. You had this guy here, Panzerjäger 1 here. You also have a fairly early on the same gun mounted on something like an R35 or an H35, the Hotchkiss or Renault little light tanks with the turret removed. Didn't work out terribly well, but the Lorraine tractors, he put large guns on them. On some of the Charbis, he took the turrets off and put a 150 millimeter and the lower gun off. Put a 150 millimeter howitzer that had a firing arc to the front, but was sort of fixed. Or remove the howitzer and put a flamethrower on him. He was in charge of, over the years, doing a lot of conversion work to these vehicles for German use. And some were used up near the Leningrad siege. A bunch were used down to fight partisans in Yugoslavia. They did some other custom work for some of the Lorraine tractors. Lorraine tractors are a fully tracked, originally basically unarmed towing vehicle for like heavy artillery or whatever by the French. The Germans arm them up. They put some with howitzers, some with heavy anti-tank guns on them. Some of those they set up to mount on armored trains for dismounted use, meaning it would ride on the train on like a armored sort of flatbed that had a ramp on it to drive off and drive around the armored train if there's partisans in the woods or something, and get off and go fight them to protect the railways as part of the armored train, just a bit more mobile. So they were using a lot of these captured vehicles all the way up until the end. Some of the stuff is out of desperation, all of it to some degree, because it would be better to use, like you say, vehicles you don't need special manufacturing or special equipment or special ammo to keep them functioning. Is that the same mission as last time? Yes, this is the same mission. We're continuing it. I have not seen de Gaulle since he sort of withdrew a bit. I have not killed him yet. Okay, we're going to use him. Come up. Take him out. Now this is a Soma S-35, and of course we can, we'll move over here. Okay, okay, that's cruiser tank, Mark 1. This is also coming out of the early 30s. You see this has a big sort of boxy turret on it, but then it has two turrets here and here. Each of those have they look sort of like big there, but it's just a Vickers machine gun. Again, it has a water jacket on it. So this has a driver in front here, two machine gunners, and I think a 3-man or a 2-man, I'm not absolutely sure, 2 or 3-man turret with a gun and another Vickers machine gun. Fairly quickly, and most of the ones used during World War II have the auxiliary turrets removed. Early on they were being used, but they continue the cruiser tanks. Okay, well, because I don't know what I'm going to find or what's going to come pushing down at me, so we're just going to stay here for that. Now, yeah, we're going to artillery. We'll get a return fire, which will hurt us a little bit, but I'm hoping, okay, well, just 7. I really just wanted to kill it, but we're not going to move up onto the river or the bridge. We're staying back. Okay, now over here, though, let's see what we can do. We can attack that artillery piece. They can too, but probably not needed. Okay. Have our Fallschirmjägers attack the artillery. Now, you don't want tanks. Really, you don't want them in the hills. You definitely don't want them in the forests. Well, we'll take the air base. Just to sort of do that, we'll move you up in support here. Okay, now these guys are engineers fighting other engineers, if you will, because normally the flame vehicles, armored or otherwise, would be engineering under the engineer's command. Okay, not quite the outcome I was hoping for. These also have a double move. Yeah, we'll fall back, just because they could get nasty if these guys switch places and attack them while they're on the bridge. And we've got to play well and cautiously. I mean, we got to be pushing, but no, he should stay right where he is because I'm worried about that. Okay, now we have one fighter here that I sort of saved to see if I wanted to strike at something or to escort. I think we will move you here to escort at least 3 of the 4 bombers. We weakened, only have one that's up to proper good strength. Fighters that we have identified. I mean, they still have an air base up here, another one way over here, and a few out this way, so I don't know what's on them. And he's, of course, be reinforcing. Okay, they get their turn. Okay, that was mutually slaughterous. We've moved our artillery maybe a little too close up for the heavy artillery. He should probably be further to the rear because he has the range, and move that other guy up would have been a better idea. They're getting artillery support, and they're shooting at guys on bridges, so that's good for them. That was not good for you, yeah, okay. And nor good for you. Okay, it's, I think, rainy, so we can't do any... Oh, no, we can, okay, we can still attack it, just cloudy. Okay, just cloudy. So, air attacks are less effective if it's cloudy. Just keep that in mind. Okay, we're going to use our overrun to come up to here, but we're not going to go beyond that just because entrenchments, etc. Like I say, we're going to fall him back out of the range of those 2 howitzers, but where he can still affect the battlefield. You see, just not a good idea to it. Okay, well, okay, that'll be a good strike at them. All right, so that's down. I was worried about that reinforcing. That would be a better option. Encircled, but and may force to retreat. These guys will move up to... Oh no, I don't want to do that. No, 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 no. Let's see if we can... running out of range, so we will use you here. I know it's just a single oh yeah, well no, that's good. Not what I intended to do. Still not taking it out entirely. So let's fly the bomber over it. Okay, well, not fully done, but probably done enough. I'll do that. Okay, overrun. Any good attacks? No, but we'll see about what we want to do here. Now, they've all fired. This infantry is fairly good at being entrenched there. These are heavy. So again, trying to be smart. I know I'm often not, but I'm up. These guys we're not going to attack, we're going to reinforce. And none of those attacks look nice, so I think we'll avoid them. And moving here into this open X. Attack. Yeah, we should have done that first. And yes, we will now occupy there. Okay. Engineers in a city. Yeah, they should be able to defend there well enough. We'll move you up here just in case they got some tanks or something to push in on you. We're going to move you up. Yeah. And then we're going to withdraw you back to here. Just because he's a really good unit and we're getting a bit weaker. Now we're going to, because we've been facing some fairly stiff fighter pilots, but he'll come up and, yeah, just escort these two. Guess we're taking this turn and reinforcing some of these units. Now over here, now this is much better for them because they have, instead of having the artillery up front, they got infantry up front supported by artillery. So we're going to elite re-emplacement over here. These guys are just holding out our flank. Yeah, we'll move up here. Trying to keep them on the high ground so this guy has greater artillery range. Just a little worried about them coming around and trying to hit him. So the artillery support will be nice. Oh, out here. Let's see. Did we move these guys? They... Yeah, okay. just so he's not completely surrounded by something coming out of Greater London area, like that de Gaulle unit and other support. Well, that was a mistake. They advanced their artillery up. Yep, engineers did well in the... Okay, now there's a Matilda 2. And there's that de Gaulle unit back again to harass me badly. Okay, there's de Gaulle. Charles de Gaulle. Valentine 3. Matilda. Okay, see, I was worried about that, and I was good to be cautious on that. Right, well, now these guys are going to take that artillery out completely. And we're going to reduce the engineers on the bridge. Now, up here, we're going to do what is sometimes called running away. Okay, I think there's somebody over there, so we're going to come down here. Since he's weak, we're going to... I'm hoping to get out of these guys' visual range so they'll like sort of bump into him. Be an ambush situation. But again, I'm pretty sure there's somebody up there. Yeah. We come to the forests. Yes, I know that is leaving this side weak here, but I am maybe a little overly worried about that de Gaulle unit, but with just reason, I think. They're going to get counter battery fired. Well, okay, well, let's sort of at the extreme of some of the ranges here. I don't know if we should move up to this airbase or even that. Nah, it's too close to the enemy right now. Let me retreat off. Nope, can't make it up to there. Okay. Well, that forced him back. I don't know if that was a good or a bad move, but... And I'm going to do that. Undo that. These guys are going to come over here, protecting the artillery from him. Looks like Canadian forces over there. And these guys will come up here and do that. We know there's AA guns back here. Maybe over here, I don't know. Yeah, we'll just change air bases up with you for there. Yeah, you can come here. I don't want to lose this unit, so some air cover. And this guy will come up and escort these here. All the games. No, absolutely not. Each mission is uniquely set up. You can see this is one of the bigger battlefields. This is, if not one of the biggest battlefields in there. So this is now what the third session I've been playing this in 2-hour increments with a bunch of talking, and it follows on from some of this map was in the previous mission. So this is a massive map. Your maximum is supposed to take the outskirts of London, so this is a 30 turn. Some are like, I don't know, 15 turns or 20 turns. So it varies with sort of the objectives of the mission and what you're dealing with. Now you are still free to operate. I think we're going to attack over here because I'm guessing there's no AA around here just by its sort of placement. And we can suppress the artillery from any attacks over here. Well, I think the game is moddable if you want to look at it that way. There are random missions, random battles that are generated, but not in the standard situation for the standard scenarios. There is difficulty level. We're playing currently at the highest of the 5 difficulty levels. So I think you can make. I haven't tried. I don't know if anybody's done. I think you can mod. You can make mods for the game that are battles. I'm just saying I think because I don't know and I haven't done it. I do mod a few games, but not this one. Okay. Oh, they brought up an AA gun to go after my... And we've got an AA gun here, yay! And they hurt us a little bit, but that's what I was afraid, strafing some of these other guys over here. Oh, brought up more artillery. Oh man, that De Gaulle unit. Ouch. Okay. Now,